eyes and close with Namaskar. So welcome back. Let's go ahead now and talk about PROUT. Before I read the fourth fundamental principle, I'd like to share with you again my new YouTube channel that I started called PROUT Rev. And PROUT Rev is a YouTube channel that is going to be devoted all to PROUT, exploring this progressive utilization theory, which is a socioeconomic alternative to capitalism and communism. And you can go ahead and search for it on YouTube. And just in case, I'm not sure if this link is working, but I will post a subscription link on YouTube and also on Facebook. And when the program is over, the chat will be available and you can go check it out. You can subscribe. So thank you. Yeah, I think actually it's not working. Anyways, you can search for PROUT. So here is the fourth fundamental principle of this socioeconomic theory. There should be proper adjustment amongst these physical, metaphysical, mundane, supramundane, and spiritual utilization. So we've been talking about, maybe to clarify this, we should do a quick review. The first fundamental principle basically just says that there should be a ceiling of income because the monetary and the wealth on the planet is finite. So if one person has 50% of it and everybody else has to share the other half, obviously there's imbalance. So we need to avoid that. And then the second principle and the third principle now talk about how to rationally distribute the physical resources of the planet, the supramundane or the psychic resources, the mental resources, and then the spiritual resources. So what this fourth one is saying is that there should be proper adjustment when it comes to the rational distribution or the utilization of these three resources, because PROUT recognizes that the planet has three types, right, of resources: physical, mental, and spiritual. So the adjustment now has to do with, like, think of the individual, think of a person. So every person has something to offer, has a aspiration, maybe are born to do something in life. But if you look at our society, we don't live in a world where people can actually give their offerings. We have so many artists and painters that cannot make a living from their art. Actors, musicians who have to, work at restaurants, at bars. We have people sometimes that have to take up a job, like, think of kids when their parents send them off to college. The parents say, okay, you should go and be a doctor, you should study maybe computer science, be an engineer, because these are the jobs that are going to give you money. And so it's quite possible that that individual has no interest in any of those things, may not even be good at any of those things. Even when I first went to college, my first semester, I wanted to study medicine. And that was because I thought, oh, I'm in college now, so I need to I need to do something serious with my life. So I'll study medicine because that's a pretty serious profession. But I didn't enjoy all the science, all that was involved in studying all of the science. And I was clearly more of an artist or more of a communicator or a spiritualist. I switched careers and I became a teacher. And so I did have a longing to want to impart knowledge on people. And I studied education and I was able to teach middle school and then later college. And even now, that's what I do. That's my job. Outside of all the spiritual work that I do, that's how I make my living. So we need to allow in our society every person the opportunity to develop their career, the career that they choose based on their particular strengths. Nobody can decide that for them. Sometimes, or nobody should impose something else on them. We've seen how some different regimens in the past, like say in some communist regimens, people are forced to work in the fields. Like the Khmer Rouge is a really extreme example. They actually murdered all of the intellectuals in the society. Even if you had glasses, you were killed because they wanted to turn everybody into a worker. And so the workers had to, had very small options for how they should be a worker. And it included working in the fields, perhaps some industrial production, but basically trying to homogenize everybody. And that is against PROUT. So yes, in PROUT, we need to provide the basic necessities to all, the minimum requirements of life, which means then that we need to produce a lot of food. And so then a lot of agricultural production is appropriate to occur in every single country, or as PROUT calls it, socioeconomic zones, so that people can have food. But it doesn't mean that to meet a certain quota of food that people have to go and be a farmer, or to provide another necessity for society, like housing, that now everybody has to go out and learn construction. So the proper adjustment says that while we meet these minimum requirements, at the same time, people choose what they want to do. And that's actually something really important, because for a human being, it is not enough to just have the minimum requirements of life, to be given food, to be given a roof over your head. Actually, a human being has a mind, and the mind just wants to express. It's just like it's this thing that is a part of its makeup is the need for, the drive for expression. That's what the ego is. The ego is a doer. It wants to do. Hence why, when you sit for meditation, it's difficult to just be, because your mind is used to doing all the time. And so we need to provide for people that opportunity. So, one place to begin is that education should be guaranteed to all. In the United States, we have a wonderful system of free elementary school, free middle school, free high school, but college is not guaranteed. But in so many other countries of the world, yes, university is also guaranteed. And so that would be a good step, is to provide universal education to all, so that all at any point in their life can take up a new skill, take up a new career, or fulfill their career by getting the right education. And we should also endeavor as a society to provide jobs to all. This is kind of outside of this principle, but I think it's relevant because, why do we need to allow people to develop their potentials? whether it is physical, mental, or spiritual potentials. Um, but why? I mean, that's important, but it's important also because human beings need to have jobs. It's also not good that we have a welfare state where people are given free money, because then what happens is they're given money, but they're not actually developing their potential. So now, of course, if someone is in a situation like that, they might just have to take up a job, providing shelter for others, clothes, education, healthcare. Um, but but I mean, fundamentally, though, people should be allowed to take up the career, the job that best suits their individual potential. And the potentials can be physical, mental, or spiritual. So if somebody is really good with their hands and is really creative, and it can be like a carpenter, a farmer, a builder, then that person should be allowed to do that and develop that. And likewise, if somebody has very strong intellectual capacity, scientists, artists, writers, those people should do that. And if people have, a strong spiritual inclination where they are really good at imparting spiritual knowledge, that's also very important. Those people should do that. I wish we lived in a society where my basic needs could be met so that I could just focus on my spiritual work, because I feel like that's, my best strength is being able to inspire people, or that's my biggest aspiration, is to inspire people to become more spiritual, to self-realize themselves. And also, now that I'm doing the PROUT work, inspire people to try to make the world a better place. But my basic necessities are not met, and I have to work to acquire them, like everybody else, unfortunately. And and also, when we, oh, never mind. Sorry. So, to summarize the point, then, we should allow the people to do the work that is best suited for them. And nobody decides what is best suited for anybody. Everybody should be given the ample opportunity to develop themselves, and decide what are they best capable of doing, and then let them contribute to society in that way. And if we should create a world like that, then we will have the richest, richest, richest world ever. Because that means everybody is working on what they're good at. And everybody is developing that. And so we enjoy so much more, or else everybody's just surviving, not contributing to their best capacity, not letting their light shine, and the world suffers. So I hope that the way I explained the principle made sense. I want to invite you now to make comments or questions.